Hi, it's Sharon, and I just want to show you guys my third journal. This one I did for a swap over at Junk Journal Junkies. It's all about the red and the pink, and my partner's name is Kim. So Kim, I hope that you like this. I'll be sending it out to you tomorrow, and so I just wanted to do a quick flip through. Its measurements are 6.5 by 9 1/4 by 1 1/3. There are 3 signatures. Each signature has 10 sheets of paper plus. It's at least 10 whole sheets of paper, and then some of them have like fourth of sheets and other things stuck in there. I used my floss to sew it in, and I finally got a crocodile for Christmas. And so I put a eyelet here for a charm if she wants to add one, and then one here for my closure. Now the closure, it got so big and fat and chunky that I had originally was going to use one of the little hair bands, and it just got too big. The hairband wouldn't stretch. So what I did was I went to the dollar store and I found these new hair elastics, and so I undid the knot and sewed it together and made a flat closure there. And so then it fit perfectly, so I was really happy with that. What I've done is I used a cereal box, but I put it together myself. I assembled it using a tutorial that Yvonne White had shown. And I used a wallpaper. It's a nice expensive wallpaper I was able to get a roll of that I thought fit perfectly the theme. And then I added an applique butterfly to the front here and some pink trim. I used the E6000 to put that on with. And then I had a brass finding that I used. And then I wired a sort of a pink cast shell button and then a vintage glass button together. And then I used E6000 to put them together. And then just in the very top, because the glass button was concave, I was able to put a vintage pink glass button in there. And I just used some metal and glass glue to hold that in place. So let's get inside. On the inside cover, I did a little memory board for her out of some paper and some ribbon, and I just put a heart button in the middle, a place for her to slip things that she wants to remember. And the first sheet, my first signature, is another piece of wallpaper. I'm on a wallpaper kick right now. I'd found a whole bunch of really neat, pretty wallpaper, and so I used a sheet of that. And on the inside of that, I just stamped and embossed some pink flowers. I don't know if you can see them, they're really light. And then just some pink embossed paper. And a couple years ago for Valentine's Day, I had gotten some spiral art kits for me and my friends to just sit around and doodle with. And I was playing with that not long ago with some a pink and white gel pen, and so I thought I'd just as a fun little detail add some of those in here, and I made some tuck spots out of those. I glued it 3/4 of the way and left 1/4 open, so it holds pretty well. And then I just tucked a little journaling card in there. Sorry about that noise, guys. It's my son. I'm not quite sure what he's doing upstairs. Now these I found at the dollar store, and I think they're so cute. They're word strips for teachers to put up on their bulletin board. And when you fold them in half, they're a perfect size to fit into the journal. So I've been using those lately, and I just stamped with my graphic 45 a B and then creative on that. And then the definition for create over here. And this is just some plain copier paper that I use some food coloring for, and just did a little sort of watercolor technique to get a pattern down on that. And just a little stamp there. Put some lace on the end of it. And then a piece of, I think this was a collar block pattern paper here. And then this is a technique I used with some drawing paper. It's gouache, it's some red gouache. And it's just a pattern technique that I did to get that pattern on there. And I really enjoyed how this turned out. And I stuck a card from a memory card game in there. Pink icing cupcake. Thought that fit the theme really well. A doily with a little partial belly band on it. And this can be used as a tuck spot. It's glued down to the paper. And this, I laid down a plastic table runner, a vintage one that I had found in this house when we bought it. And I laid it down, and then I had made some of my own glimmer mists. And so I sprayed it, and I really enjoyed the pattern that came out. And this is a card that I've had in my card stash for a very long time, and finally decided to let it go. I love this card, but it just fits so perfectly in here. So I hope you enjoy the card, Kim. I finally decided to part with it, and I just created a little pocket. I embossed on here some Chinese paper lanterns. I don't know if you can see that. And then just made a little tag with my paper edger and put that in there. I used a lot of paper punches and paper edges in here. I've been collecting them. Just a new stamp I have that I embossed with some ink there. And I had been watching some of the other It's All About the Pink and Red videos, and I saw where Denise, she's from Practice Makes Pretty, and she had put some frou-frou behind a lot of different shapes to make tabs, and I really liked it. I didn't have any frou-frou, and so what I did was I did have some pink feathers, and so what I did was I took one of the pink feathers and my Martha Stewart butterfly punch, and I just stripped a poor feather. But from one feather I was able to get enough of the little feathers to do 6 of the butterfly tabs, and so I just glued the feathers behind it and then glued it down, and I think it turned out, you know, pretty neat. So, and then I made a template here and glimmer misted around it with another glimmer mist. And then this is out of a calendar that I had. It's a painting by Winslow Homer. I think it's called The Dinner Horn. I stuck it in there. This is out of a magazine. It's an antique rug from the 1880s. And then this is a paper that another piece of drawing paper that I colored using food coloring, and it got some interesting effects on it. A heart button with some ribbon, and this is a belly band with an envelope, and put a feather in there, a pink feather in there for her to use. And then this is an envelope that I glued down on the side as a tuck spot. And this is the other side of the envelope. Just used my paper punch to do a belly band. And I put the gloss medium and varnish on it to help protect it so that you could open it easily and it would hold up. And I tried everything in here, every pocket I tried to put something in, and so here's some labels I found at the dollar store I thought she might like, especially the red ones to go in here. Then on this side, each one of these is a separate tuck spot. And then there's just a little embossed paper lantern there. And here's a tag that says, "Be strong, go with your heart, and believe in miracles because anything can happen." And that's actually stamped on the pocket itself. It's a clear pocket I found in the thrift store. I thought it was really neat. I put in here, and the tag is just plain. She can put something on that if she wants to, or leave it plain and keep it in the pocket. And then over on this side, I just glimmer misted another stencil and put a butterfly with the feathers behind it on here. This is the other side of the rose card, and this is, I did not do this tag. This tag is done by an artist, paper artist by the name of Tina, and I had bought some of her tags, and I thought it fit so perfectly that I put it in here. So hopefully she likes Tina's tag. It's the only tag I didn't make in here, but I liked it so much and it fit that I wanted to put it in for her. This is the other side of the table runner that I glimmer misted. Kim told me that she liked library cards, so I Kool-Aid dyed this and put it in there for her. The other side of the gouache paper that I did the pattern technique on. The other side of the word strip. Here's a card that I put in as a flip up. She can do some writing in, and a pocket in the back. This is something I got when I ordered something. It says scrapbookers don't lie, they embellish. I thought that was cute, so I stuck that in there for her. And the other side of the wallpaper piece, and that's the end of the first signature. And this is the second. This is a gift bag that I found in the dollar store, and I thought it was so neat, so I cut it up and put a piece of it in here for her. And I added some bling and an applique butterfly on there. On this side I made a pocket out of it. And I went to the store and got some red and pink flower seeds and stuck those in here. I thought, you know, it's still winter, it's so cold outside, spring's on its way, and so I just wanted to share something springy with her. So I hope she likes her flower seeds. Martha Stewart butterfly punch. I just bought this, and I've been wanting that punch forever, and I bought it on clearance, and so I've put the butterflies through here. I think every signature. And that I just glimmer misted them with some of the glimmer mist that I had. And this is another sheet of the food dyed paper that I had dyed. Some of my mind's eye paper. I love this pattern on this side. And another tuck spot, Yvonne White style. Thank you, Yvonne, for sharing all of your ideas with us. There's 3 different little layers of tuck spots and another Chinese paper lantern embossed there. This is a card that I'd gotten in a stack of cards at the thrift store that I loved. It wasn't quite far enough to reach, and it kind of came out too far, so I cut it in half and added some artist tape here, which I glimmer misted and then stamped roses into the glimmer mist to make a pattern. And then it put it out far enough to where it lays much nicer now. Another one of the butterfly tabs with the feathers. Another pocket. I had found this vintage tissue in the thrift store, and it's hand embroidered with pink and red, and I thought it fit the theme perfectly, so I stuck it in there for her. This is a piece of paper I watercolored with another technique that you can do to get a pattern with saran wrap, and so I did that, and then added another one of my Spirograph art pieces that I'd been having fun with the pink and white gel pens. It's another tuck spot, and I just this is a little index card. I got a whole bunch of these index cards and Kool-Aid dyed them and then just stamped on it something fun in there. Just stuck in with the paper clip a little something out of one of the paper collections that I had. This is the plastic tablecloth runner again that I just spritzed through. Add a little embossed belly band there and a tag. I've been using a lot of paint chips recently, and this paint color is Butterfly Fly By, and I really like that, and I stamped some butterflies on there and just made it into a little tag for her. And this is a pocket over on this side. In the thrift store I had found a package. I'm not sure if it's vintage or not, or if these are new, I don't know, but I found these little pins that have different shapes on them, and this is a red moon. I thought that was neat, so I stuck that in there for her, just through the lace. If you have little ones about, be careful with that. You might want to stick that up somewhere. And from my days of substitute teaching, I still had some of these little gift boxes I would use as a project if I needed it, and I just decorated a couple of them and stuck it in the pockets here for her to use. My least favorite page. I was not happy with this, but this is a card I'd gotten in a whole box of cards from the thrift store, and I thought it would fit in here nicely, and it does, but it's still my least favorite area in the book. My Mind's Eye paper. This is from a 1940s children's book, and I just cut out the pattern and glued it down to an envelope. I really liked it. Thought that she would like that. This is the middle of the second signature, and I did a little closure there for her envelope. Inside I just have a whole bunch of leftover pieces of lace and ribbon and stuff that I'd used in the book in case she wanted to use some more somewhere. My Mind's Eye paper, just cut out a little piece out of another collection and butterfly embossed it and stuck that there. And she had told me, Kim, when I talked to her the other day, that she liked old advertisements. And so I was able to stick a couple of those in here. And this is not old itself, but it is a photo of a 1941 Vogue cover that I thought she would like, and it definitely fit the red theme. So I added the picture of this in here for her. Another pocket with another gift box in it. Another spritz through the table runner piece. Another pocket. Love the paint chips, really on a paint chip kick, so I put this in here for her. I had gotten a pack of paper flowers that you punch out, and then they had all these interesting shapes. So what I did was I sat one evening when I was watching TV and cut around those shapes again, and I actually like the negative shapes a whole lot better. I use them much more than I do actually the positive shapes of the flowers, so I'm really having fun with that. Another pocket with one of the butterfly tabs on it with the feathers. This is a card called Red, so I thought it fit, so I put it in here. It was an advertisement for our local theater for a play called Red, about the life of painter Mark Rothko. And I'd wanted to go see it, hadn't been able to see it, but it just fit the theme so perfectly that I decided to put this in here for her. So maybe she can find a use for it, maybe paint over the back and journal or something, whatever she wants to do. Another card that I joined to the side of the first card. And this is my favorite part in this whole journal. I'd laid down a piece of lace and glimmer misted over it. And because of the type of paper it is, it just made a really, really interesting effect. And I just enjoy this a lot. It's probably my favorite thing in this journal. Another tuck spot with the doily. Card I put in here is a flip out glimmer misted paper. The other part of the gift bag that I cut down, and I just put a couple little brads in there. And then I stuck in the pocket a little some message paper that had some pretty roses on it for her. I tried to stick something in every pocket and every tuck spot and envelope. This is a belly band. And I just Mod Podged down a picture out of a magazine I thought was beautiful, Rose Garden. And then I used my lace cutter to make a couple pieces of lace here and stick it down as a medallion for her. And here's another one of the little butterfly tabs with the feathers. Interesting thing, when you're gluing down feathers, you have to hold your breath. So I was holding my breath a lot, and then I realized, you know, when I was done with the section, I'd be like, because you definitely don't want to breathe when you're working with the feathers because they fly everywhere. An interesting tidbit about this paper I put in for her is that it is from the 1980s, and it is actually a piece of billboard paper. When I was in high school back in the 80s, one of the billboard companies had donated a whole bunch of billboards that they hadn't used, and I had kept some of the papers all these years, 30 plus years, and finally decided to start chopping them up and putting them in here. And this is actually from a 1980s Coca-Cola ad for a billboard. And I don't know if you were able to see that or not, but you can see the 4-color printing process that they used to use for the billboards, the little dots of the yellows and the reds and the blues. So it's really interesting, and it has kind of a texture to it. You can sort of almost feel the different dots on there. So I hope you like that, Kim. Another stencil in Glimmer Mist. And she told me that she loved old ads. And this is an ad from a 1948 travel magazine called Holiday that I picked up in an antique store here locally. And it's pretty battered up, so I decided to go ahead and tear some things out of it. And it's such a large magazine that I actually had to chop it down a little bit and kind of glue down. So I hope you don't mind that, Kim, but I thought you would like this. Really neat little ad. And then this is from a Japanese book over here. I love the Japanese writing. It is so beautiful, very artistic, and one day would like to learn to read it. But for right now, I put some of this in here for you. Another pocket, put a Masterpiece, let's see, Masterpiece, The Art of Auction Game piece in here. This is Renoir's On the Terrace. So I stuck that in. I thought it fit with her hat there. This is another piece of paper that I laid down the doily, or the plastic table runner, and spritzed through it. This is an envelope. And I forget who was doing this, but you cut it into 2 sections, the flap, and so you end up with like 2 separate sections. And I used another paint chip and stamped out a banner image and put glitter on it and put that in here. I don't know if you can see the 3 different colors there from the paint chip. And then on the inside, I just stuck some things in there. I think these are bookmarks that I put in there for her. The reason I put this in is because it's from my town and it has the town seal on it. So I thought that she might enjoy having that. And then this is another piece over here of the gouache paper that I did with another one of the cupcake memory card pieces. And a pink paper clip. I love those pink paper clips. A little tag I did with a paint chip. And some Glimmer Mist. Now this, I wanted to use frou-frou. I had no frou-frou, and if you've watched any of my other videos, the nearest craft store is an hour away, guys, and I just don't get there very often. And so what I had was some milkweed pods in the house that I'd collected in the fall, and I disassembled some of those. And so this is actually the little silky threads from the milkweed pods that I put behind here. Again, a time when you really have to hold your breath and don't want to do a lot of breathing. But I think it turned out really neat. And so there's actually a couple of those in here. And on this side, I just did a little spinner for her. And with my, the middle, used my lace cutter and made a little spinner. And this side, I just, love the things that I used to do from my childhood. And sometimes I, like with Spirograph art, they just come back out again. And what I did was I melted some crayons in between 2 layers of wax paper, very, very thinly. You can see how thin you can see through it, so that you can actually bend this and the crayons are not going to break. It's so thin. And it got a really neat pattern in there. And so then I just glued an edge around it to hold it in and make sure that the crayon stayed in. But I think it turned out pretty neat. And then I just put a Glimmer Misted envelope in here, and it's got like several little tags and extra things. Like I cut out some more pieces of the wax paper crayon in the middle, and some little more index cards and stuff for her to use, some things that I stamped that she can put in the journal. And then this is the other side of the crayon paper. I really love the pattern it got. And this is another table runner I'd found in the house that I just laid down and spritzed. some homemade glimmer mist that I'd made. I made several different collars of the glimmer mist, and I just buy these at the dollar store. They're $1, and I really like the spray bottle because it has hairspray in it, and so the spray inside is actually made to withstand like the alcohol and the hairspray. So I find that they stand up much better to use in time than the ones that, just the travel ones that you get at the dollar store. That gouache technique here on this paper again, and another one of the cards from the memory card game. Lovely pink cupcakes and donuts. I'm getting hungry. And then this is the other side of the envelope from my hometown. And what's really neat is we're well known for our 4th of July celebration, and this is a 4th of July stamp, so I thought that that was a really fitting part of our sort of our town there. And then a little tag that I made and put an eyelet in there. And this has the milkweed silk behind the butterfly on it too. A little medallion and ribbon there. A pocket here, and I did a little tag for her. Another Martha Stewart butterfly there, and some lace, and just a stamped image. It says, "Happiness depends upon ourselves," Aristotle, and that is so true. You know, it's what you choose to be. I laid some lace down and spritzed that pattern. I think some of them turned out better than others. I'm still trying to get the knack of that. But, you know, it's part of something being handmade if it's not perfect. And this is the last frou-frou butterfly with the feather behind it. Not quite as much feather on this one because I was running out, but I did the best that I could. I did manage to get 6 of them out of the 1 feather, so I thought that was pretty good. And the back section of the billboard paper. And then these are all tuck spots here with a pocket here. I just put a little card in there, "Find beauty in the ordinary." And then this is the last ad. This is from another ad from the 1948 magazine, the travel magazine. And this is Kate Greenway frocks made of a Pacific saffronized material. I'm not sure what saffronized is now. I thought that was interesting. It doesn't sound too good, but but really, really pretty little dresses on those girls. And I thought she'd like that. I hope you like it, Kim. And then I just did a pocket here. This is a big pocket. And I just backed an image out of a magazine and Mod Podged it in with some more of the Martha Stewart butterflies, of course. Had to finish up with the Martha Stewart butterflies and a little bit of bling there. And then on the back page, I just went kind of simple with it and put a pocket in, a little stamp, "Homemade for you by Sharon." So I hope you like it. And my last tag, and I used my Graphic 45 stamp set, my new stamp set I just got. And I don't know if you can see it, but I took one of my butterfly punches and cut around it again, and so there's a little sort of negative image of the butterfly here, and then a little butterfly trim down here, and this swings so you can put it wherever you want it. There's a little eyelet underneath there. So, and then we have the closure. And you can maybe see how I did that binding. I did the 3 sections, laid them down, glued them in, and then put the wallpaper on the back and the inside too. I went ahead and used it on the inside because it's a really nice strong wallpaper, so I think it's going to hold together well. I've up and did this and flipped it every which way, and it's working really well. I'm really happy with this binding process. So I hope it does well for you, Kim, and you like it. And so guys, please leave a comment below. Tell me if you like it, what you think of it, what interested you, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.